Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We'd like to welcome everyone to our reading of Krishna book to Srila Prabhupada. And as we always do, let us offer our respectful obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and to each other. Namo Om Vishnuvadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachadi Shatarane, and to each other. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vievacha Vatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So for all of you online, you'll note the English subtitles at the bottom of the page. That helps you to read along with us. And we are in the introduction, Prabhupada's Krishna book. King Parikshit was especially interested in hearing Krishna Katha because he knew that his forefathers, particularly his grandfather Arjuna, were victorious in the great battle of Kurukshetra only because of Krishna. We may also take this material world as a battlefield of Kurukshetra. Everyone is struggling hard for existence on this battlefield, and at every step there is danger. According to Maharaj Parikshit, the battlefield of Kurukshetra was just like a vast ocean full of dangerous animals. His grandfather Arjuna had to fight with such great heroes as Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and many others who were not ordinary fighters. Such warriors have been compared to the Timingala fish in the ocean. The Timingala fish can very easily swallow up big whales. The great fighters on the battlefield of Kurukshetra could swallow many, many Arjunas very easily. But simply due to Krishna's mercy, Arjuna was able to kill all of them. Just as one can cross with no exertion over the little bit of water contained in the hoofprint of a calf, so Arjuna, by the grace of Krishna, was able to very easily jump over the ocean of the battle of Kurukshetra.
Maharaj Parikshit very much appreciated king's activities for many other reasons. Not only was his grandfather saved by Krishna, but he himself also was saved by Krishna. By the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, all the members of the Kuru dynasty, both the sons and the grandsons on the side of Dhritarashtra and those on the side of the Pandavas, had died in the fighting. Except the 5 Pandavas brothers, everyone died on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Maharaj Parikshit was at that time within the womb of his mother. His father Abhimanyu, the son of Arjuna, also died on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And so, Maharaj Parikshit was a posthumous child. When he was in the womb of his mother, a Brahmastra weapon was released by Ashwatthama to kill the child. Within Parikshit Maharaj's mother's Uttara approached Krishna. Krishna, seeing the danger of abortion, entered the womb as a super soul and saved Maharaj Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit's other name is Vishnurat because he was saved by the Lord Vishnu himself while still within the womb.
Thus, everyone in any condition of life should be interested in hearing about Krishna and his activities because he is the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. He is all-pervading. Inside, he is living within everyone's heart, and outside, he is living as his universal form. And yet, he, as described in the Bhagavad-Gita, he appears as he is in the human society just to invite everyone to his transcendental abode, back home, back to Godhead. Everyone should be interested in knowing about Krishna, and this book is presented with this purpose that people may know about Krishna and be perfectly benefited in this human form of life.
In the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Baladev is described as the son of Rohini, a wife of Vasudev. Vasudev, the father of Krishna, had 16 wives, and one of them was Rohini, the mother of Baladev. But Baladev is also described as the son of Devaki. So how could he be the son of both Devaki and Rohini? This was one of the questions put by Maharaj Parikshit to Sukadeva Goswami, and it will be answered in due course. Maharaj Parikshit also asked Sukadeva Goswami why Sri Krishna, just after his appearance as the son of Vasudeva, was immediately carried to the house of Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan, Gokul. He also wanted to know what the activities of Krishna were while he was in Vrindavan and while he was in Mathura. Besides that, he was specifically inquisitive to know why Krishna killed his maternal uncle Kansa. Kansa, being the brother of his mother, was a very intimate superior of Krishna. So how was it that he killed Kansa also? Maharaj Parikshit asked how many years Lord Krishna remained in human society, how many years he reigned over the kingdom of Dwaraka, and how many wives he accepted there. A Kshatriya king is generally accustomed to accept more than one wife. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit also inquired about his number of wives. The subject matter of this book is Sukadeva Goswami's answering these and other questions asked by Maharaj Parikshit.
The position of Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami is unique. Maharaj Parikshit is the right person to hear about the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, and Sukadeva Goswami is the right person to describe them. If such a fortunate combination is made possible, then Krishna Katha immediately becomes revealed, and people may benefit to the highest possible degree from such a conversation. This narration was presented by Sukadeva Goswami when Maharaj Parikshit was prepared to give up his body, fasting on the bank of the Ganges. In order to assure Sukadeva Goswami that by hearing Krishna Katha, he would not feel tired, Maharaj Parikshit expressed himself very frankly. Hunger and thirst may give trouble to ordinary persons or to me, but the topics of Krishna are so nice that one can continue to hear them without feeling tired, because such hearing situates one in the transcendental position. It is understood that one must be very fortunate to hear Krishna Katha as seriously as Maharaj Parikshit did. He was especially intent on the subject matter because he was expecting death at any moment. Every one of us should be conscious of death at every moment. This life is not at all assured, and any time one can die. It does not matter whether one is a young man or an old man. So before death takes place, we must be fully Krishna conscious. At the point of his death, King Parikshit was hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. When King Parikshit expressed his untiring desire to hear about Krishna, Sukadeva Goswami was very much pleased. Sukadeva was the greatest of all Bhagavata reciters, and thus he began to speak about Krishna's pastimes, which destroy all inauspiciousness in this age of Kali. Sukadeva Goswami thanked the king for his eagerness to hear about Krishna, and he encouraged him by saying, quote, "My dear king, your intelligence is very keen because you are so eager to hear about the pastimes of Krishna." Unquote. He informed Maharaj Parikshit that hearing and chanting the pastimes of Krishna are so auspicious that the processes purify the three varieties of men involved, the one he who recites the transcendental topics of Krishna, he who hears such topics, and he who inquires about him. These pastimes are just like the Ganges water, which flows from the toe of Lord Vishnu. They purify the three worlds, the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Prabhupada doesn't sign that, the introduction. So now we begin today, a few days before the first Ekadashi of Purushottam. We begin for the fourth time Prabhupada's Krishna book. And
Fifth.
I think it's 4. I was thinking. Okay, we'll have to look at the pictures. I saw pictures of 2022. We were in there. Determined Archana. Okay, so today we start with Chapter 1, the Advent of Lord Krishna. Once the world was overburdened by the unnecessary defense force of different kings who were actually demons but were posing themselves as the royal order. At that time, the whole world became perturbed, and the predominating deity of this earth, known as Bhumi, went to see Lord Brahma to tell of her calamities due to the demoniac kings. Bhumi assumed the shape of a cow and presented herself before Lord Brahma with tears in her eyes. She was bereaved and was weeping just to invoke the Lord's compassion. She related the calamitous position of the earth, and after hearing this, Lord Brahma became much aggrieved, and he at once started for the ocean of milk, where Lord Vishnu resides. Lord Brahma was accompanied by all the demigods, headed by Lord Shiva, and Bhumi also followed. Arriving on the shore of the milk ocean, Lord Brahma began to pacify Lord Vishnu, who had formerly saved the earthly planet by assuming the transcendental form of a boar, which is peacock.
In the Vedic mantras, there is a particular type of prayer called Purusha Sukta. Generally, the demigods offer their obeisances unto Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by chanting the Purusha Sukta. It is understood herein that the predominating deity of every planet can see the Supreme Lord of this universe, Brahma, whenever there is some disturbance on this planet. And Brahma can approach the Supreme Lord Vishnu not by seeing him directly, but by standing on the shore of the ocean of milk. There is a planet within this universe called Shvetadeepa, and on that planet there is an ocean of milk. It is understood from various Vedic literature that just as there is the ocean of salt water on this planet, there are various kinds of oceans on other planets. Somewhere there is an ocean of milk, somewhere there is an ocean of an oil, and somewhere there are oceans of liquor and of so many other types of liquids. The Purusha Sukta is the standard prayer which the demigods recite to appease the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. Because he is lying on the ocean of milk, he is called Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. He is the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, through whom all the incarnations within this universe appear.
After all the demigods offered the Purusha Sukta prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they apparently heard no response. Then Lord Brahma personally sat in meditation, and there was a message transmission from the Lord Vishnu to Brahma. Brahma then broadcast the message to the demigods. That is the system of receiving Vedic knowledge. The Vedic knowledge is received first by Brahma from the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the medium of the heart. As stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. The transcendental knowledge of the Vedas was transmitted to Lord Brahma through the heart. Here also, in the same way, only Brahma could understand the message transmitted by Lord Vishnu, and he broadcast it to the demigods for their immediate action. The message was this: the Supreme Personality of Godhead would appear on the earth very soon, along with his supreme powerful potencies, and as long as he remained on the earth planet to execute his mission of annihilating the demons and establishing the devotees, the demigods should also remain there to assist him. They should all immediately take birth in the family of the Yadu dynasty, wherein the Lord would also appear in due course of time. The Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, Krishna, would personally appear as the son of Vasudeva. Before his appearance, all the demigods, along with their wives, should appear in different pious families in the world just to assist the Lord in executing his mission. The exact word used here is Tad Priyatam, which means the demigods should appear on the earth in order to please the Lord. In other words, any living entity who lives only to satisfy the Lord is a demigod. The demigods were further informed. The Ananta, the plenary portion of Lord Krishna, who is maintaining the universal planets by extending his millions of hoods, would also appear on earth before Lord Krishna's appearance. They were also informed that the external potency of Vishnu Maya, with whom all the conditioned souls were enamored, would also appear by the order of the Supreme Lord, just to execute his purpose. After instructing
and pacifying all the demigods as well as Bhumi with sweet words, Lord Brahma, the father of all Prajapatis or progenitors of the universal population, departed for his own abode, the highest material planet called Brahmaloka. The leader of the Yadu dynasty, King Suresan, was ruling over the country known as Mathura, wherein lies the city of Mathura, as well as the district known as Surasen, which was named after him. On account of the rules of King Suresan, Mathura became the capital city of all the kings of the Yadus. Mathura was also made the capital of kings of the Yadu dynasty because the Yadus were a very pious family and knew that Mathura is the place where Lord Sri Krishna lives eternally, just as he also lives in Dwaraka.
Once upon a time, Vasudeva, the son of Suresana, just after marrying Devaki, was going home on his chariot with his newly wedded wife. The father of Devaki, known as Devaka, had contributed a sufficient dowry because he was very affectionate toward his daughter. He had contributed hundreds of chariots completely decorated with gold equipment. At the time, Kamsa, the son of KRSNA, in order to please his sister Devaki, had voluntarily taken the reins of the horses of Vasudeva's chariot and was driving. According to the custom of the Vedic civilization, where a girl is married, the brother takes the sister and brother-in-law to their home. Because the newly married girl may feel too much separation from her father's family, the brother goes with her until she reaches her father-in-law's house. The full dowry contributed by Devaka was as follows: 400 elephants fully decorated with golden garlands, 15,000 decorated horses, and 1,800 chariots. He also arranged for 200 beautiful girls to follow his daughter. The Satriya system of marriage, still current in India, dictates that when a Satriya is married, a few dozen of the bride's young girlfriends, in addition to the bride, go to the house of the king. The followers of the king are called maid servants, but actually they act as friends of the king. This practice is prevalent from time immemorial, traceable at least to the time before the advent of Lord Krishna 5000 years ago. So Vasudeva brought home another 200 beautiful girls along with his wife Devaki.
While the bride and bridegroom were passing along on the chariot, there were different kinds of musical instruments playing to indicate the auspicious moment. There were conch shells, bugles, drums, and kettle drums. Combined together, they were vibrating a nice concert. The procession was passing very pleasingly, and Kamsa was driving the chariot, when suddenly there was a miraculous sound vibrated from the sky, which especially announced to Kamsa, quote, "Kamsa, you are such a fool. You are driving the chariot of your sister and your brother-in-law, but you do not know that the eighth child of this sister will kill you."
Kamsa was the son of Ugrasena of the Bhoja dynasty. It is said that Kamsa was the most demoniac of Israelite of all the Bhoja dynasty kings. Immediately after hearing the prophecy from the sky, he caught hold of Devaki's hair and was just about to kill her with his sword. Vasudeva was astonished at Kamsa's behavior, and in order to pacify the cruel, shameless brother-in-law, he began to speak as follows, with great reason and evidence. He said, "My dear brother-in-law Kamsa, you are the most famous king of the Bhoja dynasty, and people know that you are the greatest warrior with the greatest warrior, Srila Prabhupada, prepared to, here it is that you are infuriated and you are prepared to kill a woman who is your own sister at this auspicious time of her marriage. Why should you be so much afraid of death? Death is already born along with your birth. From the very day you took your birth, you began to die. Suppose you are 25 years old. That means you have already died 25 years. Every moment, every second, you are dying. Why then should you be so much afraid of death? Final death is inevitable."
You may die either today or in 100 of years. You cannot avoid death. Why should you be so much afraid? Actually, death means annihilation of the present body. As soon as the present body stops functioning and mixes with the 5 elements of material nature, the living entity within the body accepts another body according to his present actions and reactions. It is just like when a man walks on the street, he puts forward his foot, and when he is confident that his foot is situated on sound ground, he lifts the other foot. In this way, one after another, the bodies change and the soul transmigrates. See how the plantworms change from one tree to another so carefully. Similarly, the living entity changes his body as soon as the higher authorities decides on his next body. As long as a living entity is conditioned within this material world, he must take material bodies one after another. His next particular body is offered by the laws of nature according to the actions and reactions of this life.
This body is exactly like one of the bodies which we always see in dreams. During our dream of sleep, we create so many bodies according to mental creation. We have seen gold and we have also seen a mountain. So, in a dream, we can see a golden mountain by combining the two ideas. Sometimes in dreams, we see that we have a body which is flying in the sky, and at that time, we completely forget our present body. Similarly, these bodies are changing. When you have one body, you forget the past body. During a dream, we may make contract with so many new kinds of bodies, but when we are aware, we forget them all. And actually, these material bodies are the creations of our mental activities. But at the present moment, we do not recollect our past bodies.
The nature of the mind is flickering. Sometimes it accepts some things and immediately it rejects the same thing. Accepting and rejecting is the process of the mind in contact with the five objects of sense gratification: form, taste, smell, sound, and touch. In its speculative way, the mind comes in touch with the object of sense gratification. And when the living entity desires a particular type of body, he gets it. Therefore, the body is an offering by the laws of material nature. The living entity accepts a body and comes out again into the material world to enjoy or suffer according to the construction of the body. Unless we have a particular type of body, we cannot enjoy or suffer according to our mental proclivities inherited from the previous life. The particular type of body is actually offered to us according to our mental condition and at the time of death.
The luminous planets like the sun, moon, or stars reflect themselves in different types of reservoirs like water, oil, or ghee. The reflection moves according to the movement of the reservoir. The reflection of the moon is on the water, and the moving water makes the moon also appear to be moving, but actually the moon is not moving. Similarly, by mental concoction, the living entity attains different kinds of bodies, although actually he has no connection with such bodies, but on account of illusion, being enchanted by the influence of Maya, the living entity thinks that he belongs to a particular type of body. That is the way of conditioned life. Suppose living entity is now in a human form of the body. He thinks that he belongs to the human community or a particular country or particular place. He identifies himself in the way and unnecessarily prepares for another body, which is not required by him. Such desires and mental concussions are the cause of different types of bodies. The covering influence of material nature is so strong that the living entity is satisfied in whatever body he gets, and he identifies with the body with great pleasure. Therefore, I beg to request you not to be overwhelmed by the dictation of your mind and body.
Vasudeva thus requested Kamsa not to be envious of his newly married sister. One should not be envious of anyone, because envy is a cause of fear, both in this world and in the next, when one is before Yamaraj, the Lord of punishment after death. Vasudeva appealed to Kamsa on behalf of Devaki, stating that she was his younger sister. He also appealed at an auspicious moment at the time of marriage. A younger sister or a brother is supposed to be protected as one's child. The position is overall so delicate, Vasudeva reasoned, that if you kill her, it will go against your high reputation. In this way, Vasudeva tried to pacify Kamsa by good instruction, as well as by philosophical discrimination. But Kamsa was not to be pacified, because his association was demoniac. Because of his demoniac association, he was a demon, although born in a very high royal family. A demon never cares for any good instruction. He's just like a determined thief. One can give him moral instruction, but it will not be effective. Similarly, those who are demoniac or atheistic by nature can hardly assimilate any good instruction, however authorized it may be. That is the difference between demigods and demons. Those who can accept good instruction and try to live their lives in that way are called demigods, and those who are unable to take good instruction are called demons.
Failing in his attempt to pacify Kamsa, Vasudeva wondered how he would protect his wife, Devaki. When there is imminent danger, an intelligent person should try to avoid the dangerous position as far as possible. But if in spite of endeavoring by all intelligence, one fails to avoid the dangerous position, there is no fault on his part. One should try his best to execute his duties, but if the attempt fails, he is not at fault.
Vasudeva thought of his wife as follows: For the present, let me save the life of Devaki. He further thought, if in the future I get a child who can kill Kansa, just as Kansa is thinking, then both Devaki and the child will be saved, because the law of providence is inconceivable. But now, somewhere or other, let me save the life of Devaki. There is no certainty how a living entity contacts a certain type of body, just as there is no certainty how a blazing fire comes in contact with a certain type of wood in the forest. When there is a forest fire, it is experienced that the blazing fire sometimes leaps over one tree and catches another by the influence of the wind. Similarly, a living entity may be very careful in the matter of executing his duties, but it is still very difficult for him to know what type of body he is going to get in the next life. Maharaj Bharat was very faithfully executing the duties of self-realization, but by chance he developed temporary affection for a deer, and in his next life he had to accept the body of a deer.
Vasudeva, after deliberating on how to save his wife, began to speak to Kamsa with great respect. Although Kamsa was the most sinful man, sometimes it happens that a most virtuous person like Vasudeva has to flatter a person like Kamsa, a most vicious person. That is the way of all diplomatic transactions. Although Vasudeva was deeply aggrieved, he smiled outwardly. He addressed the shameless Kamsa in that way because he was so atrocious. Vasudeva said to Kamsa, "My dear brother-in-law, please consider that you have no danger from your sister. You are awaiting some danger because you have heard a prophetic voice in the sky. But the danger is to come from the sons of your sister, who are not present now, and who knows, there may or may not be sons in the future. Considering all this, you are safe for the present, nor is there cause of fear from your sister. If there are any sons born of her, I promise that I shall present all of them to you for necessary action.
Kansa knew value of Vasudev's words of honor, and he was convinced by his argument. For the time being, he desisted from the scaling of his sister. Thus Vasudeva was pleased and praised the decision of Kansa. In this way, he returned to his home. Each year thereafter, in due course of time, Devaki gave birth to a child. Thus he gave birth to 8 male children, as well as 1 daughter. When the first son was born, Vasudeva kept his word of honor and immediately brought the child before Kansa. It is said that Vasudeva was very much elevated and famous for his word of honor, and he wanted to maintain this fame. Although it was very painful for Vasudeva to hand over the newly born child, Kansa was very glad to receive him, but he became a little compassionate with the behavior of Vasudeva.
It's index.
This event, 19 page 19. Top.
This
19
event
page
is
top.
very
Okay. This event is very exemplary for a great soul like Vasudeva. There is nothing considered to be painful in the course of discharging one's duty. A learned person like Vasudeva carries out his duties without hesitation. On other hand, a demon like Kamsa never hesitates in committing any abominable action. It is said, therefore, that a saintly person can tolerate all kinds of miserable conditions of life. A learned man can discharge his duties without awaiting favorable circumstances. A heinous person like Kamsa can act in any sinful way, and a devotee can sacrifice everything to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Kamsa became satisfied by the action of Vasudeva. He was surprised to see Vasudeva keeping his promise. And being compassionate upon him and pleased, he began to speak as follows. My dear Vasudeva, you need not present this child to me. I'm not in danger from this child. I have heard that the 8th child born of you and Devaki will kill me. Why should I accept this child unnecessarily? You can take him back. When Vasudeva was returning home with his firstborn child, although he was pleased by the behavior of Kamsa, he could not believe in him because he knew that Kamsa was uncontrolled. An atheistic person cannot be firm in his word of honor. One who cannot control the senses cannot be steady in his determination. The great politician Chanaka Pandit said, never put your trust in a diplomat or a woman. Those who are addicted to unrestricted sense gratification can never be truthful, nor can they be trusted with any faith.
At that time, the great sage Narada came to Kamsa. He was informed of Kamsa's becoming compassionate to Vasudeva and returning his firstborn child. Narada was very eager to accelerate the descent of Lord Krishna as soon as possible. He therefore informed Kamsa that in Vrindavan, personalities like Nanda Maharaj and all the other cowherd men and their wives, and on the other side Vasudeva, his father Sursen, and all his relatives born in the family of Vrishni of the Yadu dynasty, along with all their friends and well-wishers, were actually demigods. Narada warned Kamsa to be careful of them, since Kamsa and his friends and advisors were all demons. Demons are always afraid of demigods. After being thus informed by Narada about the appearance of the demigods in different families, Kamsa at once became very much alarmed. He understood that since the demigod had already appeared, Lord Vishnu must be coming soon. He at once arrested both his brother-in-law Vasudev and Devaki and put them behind prison bars.
Within the prison, shackled in iron chains, Vasudeva and Devaki gave birth to a male child year after year, and Kamsa, thinking each of the babies to be the incarnation of Vishnu, killed them one after another. He was particularly afraid of the eighth child, but after the visit of Narada, he came to the conclusion that any child might be Krishna. Therefore, it was better to kill all the babies who took birth from Devaki and Vasudeva. Is anybody else hearing the ringing?
This action of Kamsa is not very difficult to understand. In the history of the world, there are many instances of persons in the royal order who have killed their father, brother, or whole family and friends for the satisfaction of their ambitions. There is nothing astonishing about this, for members of the demoniac, greedy royal order can kill anyone for their nefarious ambitions. Kansa was made aware of his previous birth by the grace of Narada. He learned that in his previous birth he had been a demon of the name Kalanenemi, and that he had been killed by Vishnu. Having now taken his birth in the Bhoja family, he decided to become the deadly enemy of the Yadu dynasty. Krishna was going to take birth in that family, and Kansa was very much afraid that he would be killed by Krishna, just as he had been killed in his last birth. He first of all imprisoned his father Ugrasena because he was the chief king among the Yadu, Bhoja and Andaka dynasties, and he also occupied the kingdom of Shurasena, Vasudev's father. He declared himself the king of all such places. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the first chapter of Krishna, the advent of Lord Krishna. Hari Bol.
Chapter 2. Prayers by the demigods for Lord Krishna in the womb. King Kamsa not only occupied the kingdom of the Yadu, Bhoja and Andaka dynasties and the kingdom of Surasena, but he also made alliances with all the other demoniac kings as follows: the demon Pralamba, demon Bhaga, demon Chanura, demon Trinavarta, demon Agasura, demon Mustika, demon Arista, demon Dvivida, demon Putana, demon Kesi, and demon Danuka. At the time, Jarasandha was the king of the Magadha province, known at present as Bihar state. Thus, by his diplomatic policy, Kamsa consolidated the most powerful kingdom of his time. Under the protection of Jarasandha, he made further alliances with such kings as Banasura and Baumasura until he was the strongest. Then he began to behave most inimically toward the Yadu dynasty, into which Krishna was to take his birth.
Being harassed by Kansa, the kings of the Yadu, Bhoja and Andhaka dynasties began to take shelter in different states, such as the state of the Kurus, the state of the Panchals, and the states known as Kekaya, Salo, Vidarbha, Nishad, Videha, and Kosal. Kansa broke the solidarity of the Yadu kingdom, as well as the Bhoja and Andhaka. He made his position the most solid within the vast tract of land known at the time as Bharat Varsha. When Kansa was killing the 6 babies babies of Devaki and Vasudev, one after another. Many friends and relatives of Kansa approached him and requested him to discontinue these heinous activities, but all of them became worshipful of Kansa.
When Devaki became pregnant for the seventh time, a plenary expansion of Krishna known as Ananta appeared within her womb. Devaki was overwhelmed with both jubilation and lamentation. She was joyful for the she could understand that the incarnation of Balarama is the original spiritual master and the Lord Vishnu had taken shelter within her womb, but at the same time she was sorry that as soon as her child would come out, Kamsa would kill him. At that time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, being compassionate upon the Yadus, who were fearful due to atrocities committed by Kamsa, ordered the appearance of Yogamaya, his internal potency. Krishna is the Lord of the universe, but he is especially the Lord of Yadu dynasty.
Yogamaya is the principal potency of the personality of Godhead. In the Vedas, it is stated that the Lord, the Supreme Person of Godhead, has multi-potencies. Parasha Shaktir Vividaiva Shuyate. All the different potencies are acting externally and internally, and Yogamaya is the chief of all potencies. The Lord ordered the appearance of Yogamaya in the land of Rajabhumi in Vrindavan, which is always decorated and full with beautiful cows. In Vrindavan, Rohini, one of the wives of Vasudeva, was residing at the house of King Nanda and Queen Yashoda. Not only Rohini, but many others in the Yadu dynasty were scattered all over the country due to their fear of the atrocities of Kamsa. Some of them were even living in the caves of the mountains.
The Lord thus informed Yogamaya, under the imprisonment of Kamsa and Devaki and Vasudeva, and at the present moment, my plenary expansion, Sesha, is within the womb of Devaki. You can arrange the transfer of Sesha from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. After this arrangement, I am personally going to appear in the womb of Devaki with my full potencies. Then I shall appear as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, and you shall appear as the daughter of Nanda and Yashoda in Vrindavan.
Since you will appear as my contemporary sister, and since you will quickly satisfy desires for sense gratification, people within the world will worship you with all kinds of valuable presentations, incense, candles, flowers, and offerings of sacrifice. People who are after materialistic perfection will worship you under the different forms of your expansions, which will be named Durga, Bhadrakali, Vijaya, Vaishnavi, Kumuda, Chandika, Krishna, Madhavi, Kanyaka, Maya, Narayani, Ishani, Sharada, and Ambika. Krishna and Yogamaya appeared as brother and sister, the supreme powerful and supreme power. Although there is no clear distinction between the powerful and the power, power is always subordinate to the powerful. Those who are materialistic are worshippers of the power, but those who are transcendentalists are worshippers of the powerful. Krishna is the supreme powerful, and Durga is the supreme power within the material world. Actually, people in the Vedic culture worship both the powerful and the power. There are many hundreds and thousands of temples of Vishnu and Devi, and sometimes they are worshipped simultaneously. The worshipper of the power, Durga, or the external energy of Krishna may achieve all kinds of material success very easily, but anyone who wants to be elevated transcendentally must engage in worshipping the powerful in Krishna consciousness.
The Lord also declared to Yogamaya, "My plenary expansions, Ananta Shesha, is within the womb of Devaki. On account of being forcibly attracted to the womb of Rohini, he will be known as Sankarsana and will be the source of all spiritual power or Bala, by which one can attain the highest bliss of life, which is called Ramana. Therefore, the plenary portion of Ananta will be known after his appearance either as Sankarsana or as Balaram. In the Upanishad, it is stated, Nayam Atma Balahinena Labhyate. The purport is that one cannot attain the supreme platform of self-realization without being sufficiently favored by Balarama. Bala doesn't mean physical strength. No one can attain spiritual perfection by physical strength. One must have the spiritual strength which is infused by Balaram or Sankarsana, Ananta or Shesha. Is the source of power which sustains all the planets in their different positions. Materially, this sustaining power is known as law of gravitation, but actually it is a display of potency of Sankarsana, Balaram or Sankarsana. Is the source of spiritual power or the original spiritual master. Therefore, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who is also the incarnation of Balarama, is the original spiritual master, and the spiritual master is the representative of Balaram, the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who supplies spiritual strength. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is confirmed that the spiritual master is the manifestations of the mercy of Krishna.
Thus ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yogamaya circumambulated the Lord and then appeared within this material world according to his order. When Yogamaya, the supreme power of the supremely powerful Personality of Godhead, transferred to Lord Shesha from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini, both Devaki and Rohini were under Yogamaya's spell, which is called Yoga Nidra. When this was done, people thought that Devaki's 7th pregnancy had been a miscarriage. Thus, although Balarama appeared as the son of Devaki, he was transferred to the womb of Rohini to appear as her son. After this arrangement, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is always ready to protect his unalloyed devotees, entered within the mind of Vasudeva as the Lord of the whole creation. With full inconceivable potencies, it is understood in this connection that Lord Krishna first of all situated himself in the unalloyed heart of Vasudeva and was then transferred to the heart of Devaki. He was not put into the womb of Devaki by seminal discharge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his inconceivable potency, can appear in any way. It is not necessary for him to appear in the ordinary way by seminal injection within the womb of a woman.
When Vasudeva was sustaining the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, he appeared just like the glowing sun, whose shining rays are always unbearable and searching to the common man. The form of the Lord situated in the pure and allowed heart of Vasudeva is not different from the original form of Krishna. The appearance of the form of Krishna anywhere and specifically within the heart is called Dhamma. Dhamma refers not only to Krishna's form but also his name, his qualities, and his paraphernalia. Everything becomes manifest simultaneously. Thus, the eternal form, the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full potencies, was transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki, exactly as the setting sun's rays are transferred to the full moon rising in the east.
Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thus entered the body of Devaki from the body of Vasudeva without being subject to any of the conditions of an ordinary living entity. Since Krishna was there, it is to be understood that all his plenary expansions such as Narayana and incarnations like Lord Narasimha and Varaha were with him, and they also were not subject to the conditions of material existence. In this way, Devaki became the residence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is one without a second and the cause of all creation. Devaki became the residence of the Absolute Truth, but because she was confined within the house of Kamsa, she looked just like a suppressed fire or like misused education. When fire is kept in a jug, the illuminating rays of the fire cannot be very much appreciated. Similarly, misused knowledge which does not benefit the people in general is not very much appreciated. So Devaki was kept within the prison walls of Kamsa's palace, and no one could see her transcendental beauty, which resulted from her conceiving Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Kamsa, however, saw the transcendental beauty of his sister Devaki, and he at once concluded that the Supreme Person of Godhead had taken shelter in her room. Yet she had never before looked so wonderfully beautiful. He could distinctly understand that there was something wonderful within the womb of Devaki. In this way, Kamsa became perturbed because he was sure that the Supreme Person of Godhead, who would kill him in the future, had now come. Kamsa began to think, what is to be done with Devaki? Surely she has Vishnu or Krishna within her womb, so it is certain that Krishna has come to execute the mission of the demigods. And even if I immediately kill Devaki, his mission cannot be frustrated. Kamsa knew very well that no one can frustrate the purpose of Vishnu. Any intelligent man can understand that the laws of God cannot be violated. His purpose will be served in spite of all impediments offered by the demons. Kamsa thought, if I kill Devaki at the present moment, Vishnu will enforce his supreme will more vehemently. To kill Devaki just now would be a most abominable act. No one desires to kill his reputation, even in an awkward situation. If I kill Devaki now, my reputation will be spoiled. Devaki is a woman, and she's under my shelter. She is pregnant, and if I kill her, immediately my reputation, the results of my pious activities, and my duration of life will be all will be finished.
Krishna. So mark that place. This ends our 1 hour reading to Srila Prabhupada, but so exciting. So mark your place for next Sunday. So as we always do, let us offer our respectful obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and to each other. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvisesha Sunyavari Paskachade Sutarne. And to each other, Vanshya Kalpatubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bhavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Jai Krishna Bhakti Gauda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,